cut a corner, then it's my corner to cut. I'm not gonna, that sounds dodgy as. Spot weld drill bit for drilling out spot welds, but they can also be used with drilling like a just through one layer. Sort myself out here in makeup. Hey guys, girls, girl, maybe one. Dave here, DMAC Customs, back in the garage, which is DMAC Customs, my garage under my house. Last week we kind of got that into some Etch primer. I was talking about what to do next. Well, I kind of decided. So I'm going to do some work on the floors and yeah, just kind of finish up some stuff, some welding from the inside that I want to get done, just some plug welding and that, just to make sure it's all buttoned up before I start cleaning up the underside and getting that in primer. A couple of things I didn't think of last week, like I want to do a little bit more welding on these corner braces. They were put in yonks ago. I did the same amount of welding that was on the original factory ones, but I kind of figured that, I don't know, I just feel like they might be need a little bit more, not much, but just a bit more in a couple of places, which is going to end up burning through on my fresh epoxy on this side. But that's okay, we're going to be putting more on here anyway, possibly. So let's get at it. If you haven't subscribed, do us a favour and get on there and hit the old subscribe button. If you want notifications, hit the bell, like, share, comment, all that kind of stuff. Help my little channel grow, maybe into something, or just, you know, whatever. But yeah, subscribe. It's not hard. You get to see some more of this, get to see where this project's going. It's starting to get some primer on some things now, and I think, yeah, we'll start to sort of see it really starting to come together in the next few months, hopefully. Okay, so here's the plan. Most of the work I've got to do is like from here forward. Now these are all new floors that were put in, well, new as in probably about 10 years ago, by the previous owner of this 51 Fleetline. They did some work on the floors and some work back in that's kind of the original sheet metal on under the seat there, and they've kind of cut bits out and welded them in, and I've kind of gone in and just tidied up a few places. But this has all been kind of plug welded from the underside, and some of it, like there's you can't really see it from here, but that lap joint there is a bit not too kind of tight, but that's kind of okay. But I just want to kind of go through and drop some in from the top, just make sure that everything is solid and biting in properly, because some of the underside plug welds are a little bit, you'll see some of those when we get to prepping up and cleaning up the underside. So what I'm saying is I just want to finish up the welding on the top side before I go and do any stuff on the underside, which is another way of saying I'm trying to avoid going and doing that underside stuff for a little bit longer, because it's going to be a shit of a job. So let's get at it. I'm going to drill a bunch of holes through here, through that center. You can see, you know, there's a bit of bite through there. There's a couple through there. It looks like there should be plenty, but I might just kind of go do a few in-betweens just to make sure that these are all tight. These panels here, these sill panels, have only just been stitched on the edge, so I just want to do maybe every couple of inches, drill a half hole and just plug them up from the top, just to a little bit of extra insurance to make sure they are done, you know, properly. If I'm going to own all this work, then I kind of want to own all the work, making my drift. So start drilling some holes. I might mark some stuff out and drill some holes first. Okay, so I've just been doing a bit of wire wheeling and figuring out where I want to put some extra plug welds and that in. Oh, well, on this side anyway. I haven't done over there yet, but I was sort of having a look underneath. Just a little bit closer than my knees. normally would. And just kind of, I don't know if you can see it up in here. This is one of the lap joints of the two pieces, the kind of front and back floor pans sort of thing. And you can see, hopefully you can see it on the camera, you can see daylight through there, like the gaps aren't pulled tight. So I'll probably run a couple of self-tappers or something in there to kind of hopefully pull them up before I weld them. And same up in that center joint there, hopefully you can see it. It's kind of not pulled tight where I've drilled that hole through for the old handbrake cable. Yeah, so I kind of got a, it has all been, like I thought it hadn't been like plugged on that top part of the sill coming through, but it has, but they're kind of spaced all kind of odd and all over the joint. So I think I will still kind of drill them from the top and just replug them, just again, like I said before, just for my you know, my name's on it. I guess I gotta trying to do it, you know, if I'm gonna cut a corner, then it's my corner to cut. I'm not gonna that sounds dodgy as be someone else's corner. There'll still be a bunch I'm gonna have to re-drill up under here and plug up a few more. And some of these bracket braces here, there's only one there, and I think there's one there. I'd probably, you know, put an extra one in a few spots when I kind of go through and wire wheel all under here and get in there with the old power file belt snapper or belt snapping power file. And yeah, then start kind of adding a few extra ones in just to tighten it up, and then go around and sort of hammer up a lot of these braces, probably where they put a new brace in here. So these are new, that's original. They've just done a couple of plugs. I'll probably weld it all the way across and then probably weld it across any kind of overlap like that, you know, just to give it a little bit of extra oomph. But that's where I'm at. So I'm going to drill a bunch of holes. I'll show you the drill bit that I'm going to use. I've had these for a few years and they're really good. Check these out. I bought these when I was probably maybe about 12-13 years ago, when I was doing my 65 Fury. A customer of mine owns an engineering supplies company and he put me onto these. I'd never seen them before, and they are a spot weld drill bit for drilling out spot welds, but they can also be used for drilling like a just through one layer. If you're not careful, you'll punch through both. But I've got a couple of different sizes here. What's that, 8mm? I think I've got something slightly, or 3/8, whatever that is. That's 8mm. I thought I had some smaller ones. Might just be shorter. But anyway, these little spot weld bits are really good for yeah, just kind of like drilling halfway through, and that way you don't have to kind of like run a normal you know, normal fucking, what do you call it, normal drill bit through it, and that'll just power through and go all the way through. So this will go part way through, and yeah, hopefully. Anyway, so I'll just go and finish wire wheeling up over here, and I'm going to drill some holes. Okay, check this out. So look, this is what I was talking about. You see the gap between that skin, that sheet, and this sheet? It's massive, and it has got some plug welds in that underneath, which is going to make it a bit harder to flush down. So what I'm going to do is probably start with maybe that one, which is the flattest, weld it, and then start hammering, welding as I go along. It's kind of not ideal, not how I would have done it normally, but it's kind of how it is. I've got to drill one there and one there too. And then like this here,
That's what I was talking about before. So I'll get some vice grips in there, pull that up, and maybe put a, I don't know, I can't get into this now, maybe just put a bit of a weld across the back there or something, just to kind of hold it up tight. Again, it's kind of not how I would have liked to have done it, but I ain't gonna pick all this floor apart just so I can fix that. I'll fix it, but it'll be a different way. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Cool. Okay, carry on drilling some holes and then start welding some of this and hammering it and welding it and stuff. Okay, so all those drilled, so like you can see how cool these drill bits are there. You know, that one's getting a bit overheated, but that was the one I used to do all of these holes, and it had already been well thrashed, and I thought it was probably a bit blunt, but it actually cut through this stuff pretty good. So you can see how kind of useful they are for not drilling all the way through, you know, and you just kind of take it a little bit further to get a little bit of a bite in, get some clean steel going on in there, and then you just get in there and the MIG and just MIG-elate it up. So I've got to clean up, give a bit of a sweep up or a vacuum, get some of that sharp pointy shit out of there so I can crawl around in there without getting it in my knees. Using Old Faithful here. It used to be twice as long, but the old rock got to it and snapped it in half, but you know, I'll just keep using it because I keep forgetting to buy a new dustpan and shovel when I'm down at the hardware store or supermarket or wherever you buy them from. As you can see, I haven't bought one in quite some time. This was like a school project that someone somehow acquired. It's not even one I made. I don't know quite where it came from, but I've had it for a couple of decades. Probably should have used the vacuum, but yeah, Old Faithful. Making this look about as awkward as I can. That'll do us. Okay, so got this hunk of 50mm offcut that I got off my mate, which I use for hammering against sometimes, and I just held it in place with a couple of magnets because I want to try and get under here, probably my knees, and try and knock it up a bit just so it's a bit more flush before I weld it. You can see there's a plug there, there's one there, and that's about it. So, and there's one over here. I don't know what the hell's going on there, but yeah, so I just kind of want to put a few more in for those reasons. Yeah, give it a crack. You can hear it jumping up there now. Yeah, that's moved. Right, I'll go and relocate it. It's better than it was. I'll have a look at the other side. You can see the big gap there. That's what I want to try and flush out on there as well. So relocate my magnet clamp, and yeah, let's do it. Yeah. Unfortunately, this area here has already got 3 plug welds from the top in it. I don't know where they came from. I can't remember doing it myself, but we'll try and flush it out a bit anyway. That one's a big boogery one under there, so that's about as far as it'll go, I think. Yeah. That already had those 1, 2, 3, 4 already in there, so oh well, it'll look alright from the top, and once it's all seam sealed it'll look alright from the bottom as well. But again, kind of doing things in a real weird order because half of it was already done by somebody else. Not saying it's real bad, it's just different. Anyway, I'll hammer those up and then we'll do some welding. sort myself out here in makeup. Where are we? Okay, that's all the, what I think is all the top side welding done in the floors now. There's probably going to be something I'll find. So what I'll do from here is I've just been going around and giving them a little whirly jig with the wire brush on the drill. Some of these bits where I welded over the old welds, the original welds, they ended up, I don't know why, like super high, super proud. Do I flatten them down? I'll probably just leave them actually, because I mean they're honest welds, they're overloaded but probably moving too slow or something, but I was having trouble seeing as usual. But yeah, but they're going to get seam sealed, and I'll, you know, going to do a whole bunch of other stuff in here, and it'll get underbody sprayed. You're probably not even really going to see them, but these ones along here I will get in there with a flapper disc and just kind of take the higher spots down on them, you know, just the ones that are a bit proud. Some of them are quite flush already, so some drop in super easy, super nice. Others for some reason just want to booger out on you. Probably a bit of crap in the steel and a bit of, you know, bit of surface rust or something in between these lap joints. I mean, these all should have had weld through primer and stuff on them, but you know, though, like I say, they're too far in there by the time I got this car. So that all came up pretty good. I haven't had a good look underneath yet to see whether I've done any damage under there, like hammering it down like that. I don't think I will have, but that's kind of flushed out now quite a bit better, and pretty much the same deal over the other side. Had a bit of a squabble with the welding over there a wee bit, but welcome to my world. That's just how I go with welding. Now I've got like damn it, you know, well, that's right, there's going to be more primer going on this car as it is. So I'll be around here, like I say, just kind of knock down the high spots on some of these. What was that sticking out there? I might grind that off with a cutting disc actually. And yeah, just kind of flush them out. Try and remember to photograph it for the cert man and those kinds of people, the compliance people, just to sort of say, look, it's all welded and stuff proper like. Hopefully they'll go, yeah, it is, and not go, no mate, sandblast it and do it all again. But yeah, as you can see here, this is all kind of like hammered down, kind of a bit nicer now. I won't be putting any paint or anything on here just yet, because I'm probably still going to be doing a bit more welding underneath, which is going to burn off anything that I do here, because there's braces that run through under here, and I just want to put a few extra plug welds in there. You can see a couple of telltale signs from some fairly coldish plug welding on the underside, but I'm going to get in there and hopefully do some nice ones that can you know, just get a bit more bite into the old floor. So this is good thick steel in the floor. It's like quite a bit thicker than everything else that the old Area 51's made of. So yeah, anyway, I'll wire wheel these up, and then I might actually even have to move underneath. Damn it. Okay. Okay, so battery's just about dead. That's them all kind of ground back. These I won't take back any further. That's as good as they need to be as far as I'm concerned. These ones here, I'll probably get in there with a roll lock later on when I'm getting ready to kind of do some more on the floor, like, you know, to paint it, seal it all up and underbody it and all that kind of final stuff. So next up, oh yeah, I'll show you this. This is what I did. Managed to burn up my my new epoxy on there, so I have to kind of sand all that off on those areas and give that a bit of a later on as well. Okay, so battery went dead. Next up, I'm going to have a bit of a clean up, because I hate working in amongst all of this shit, so I've got to vacuum all that up and give the floor a bit of a clean up underneath as well. I probably should maybe squirt a little bit of etch onto those fresh ones, especially up there, just so they don't, no, it doesn't matter. hopefully it won't end up out in the rain at this while it's like this. So yeah, next up I'm going to be getting up under there and just wire wheel on an electric drill for ages, and then probably some sandpaper by hand. I just want to kind of clean it up as much as I can, make it easier to find all of the bits of extra welding that I need to address, little plugs here and there. Most of it's done. It's just going to be, you know, maybe filling in some, like doing every second one again sort of thing, like, you know, in betweens, like say there's one there and one there, like say there's one there and one there, I want to put one there, you know, like say there's one there and one there, I might want to put one there. There's not a lot of room, it's a very thin little thing. Got to hammer up stuff like this, you know, just things like that. Wire wheel, I might, before I hammer up those bits, what I'll probably try and do is try and get some weld through primer up in there. Obviously I can't get into all of it, but I'll try and get it in where I can before I sort of hammer it up flush. I'll be going through later on and putting all sorts of rust proofing and shit through all those little braces and brackets later on anyway, but this is just, you know, every little bit helps. Try and you know, stop the old tin worm getting in places where you don't want it to get into, you know, like, yeah. But anyway, I'm just going to like leave it here, do some cleaning up. I'll bring you back in when I've got something more interesting, hopefully it's interesting to show you. Back soon. Okay, update. Still under here, still on wire wheels, draining batteries like nobody's business on the old grinder. Some weird black shit painted on the inside of these sills. It's kind of, when you get the old grinder and the wire wheel onto it, it kind of like heats up and pulls. It's like an acrylic paint. Smells weird too, so when it heats up it's kind of real strange, but there's something's been kind of painted up under here. I don't know if you can see there some strange shit, but it's been kind of taken mostly off the other side, but not off this side. Not quite sure how I'm gonna get it off super effectively, but yeah, the dudes that put the floors in, for some reason they kind of came through and then kind of run a grinder over the back of this coating that's all over the floor in here, so it's kind of created a whole nother level of surface rust, whereas if they just left it alone, a kind of bit of a sand would have been enough to get to. It's like a galv kind of finish, or a zinc, something like that. It's like a coated steel, these floor pans. You can see it up on the top. It's, you know, it's pretty robust kind of coating, whatever's on there. But it yeah, the fact that they've kind of gone in and given it all a bit of a sand with a flapper disc or something like that, and it's taken it to the metal in places, so it's like that, you know. Why? I don't know, but doesn't matter. We'll carry on. I'm getting really sick of wire wheeling all this crap though. I might do some of the kind of finished plug welding and stuff like that up the front, just for a change of pace. What else have I got to do? I wanted to, where I could, spray a bit of that weld through primer in a few spots before I sort of hammer up these lap joints that are a bit wookie woo, like up there. I still got to try and get in there a bit tighter yet with some kind of rust removing apparatus. And yeah, got to get in there with that power file and kind of take down like little dags hanging down there like that. Looks like something that's hanging off the back of a sheet. And there's just bits of wire from the wire brush. It's all over the place now, which will be embedded in my skin, I reckon, by now. I might even have to hand sand this. I don't really want to. Oh, look at, what is this shit? The wire wheel just kind of heats it up and melts it and pushes it around. Could try the DA on it. I could get to all the kind of flatter surfaces with that. Give it a shot. Probably just clog up paper, most likely. Okay, so wow, she's getting hot, and it doesn't help when you got like hot metal shavings falling down or up your shorts leg where you're sort of drilling upside down underneath. Where we're at doesn't look much, but there's been a lot done. I've drilled all the extra plug weld holes I'm gonna do, so I might jump ahead. There's a few that I want to actually grind down, the old ones, because they're not kind of complete, so I want to grind some of them down before I do the new ones, so I can kind of complete those as I'm trying to plug weld upside down. Plug welding upside down overhead, I have had some success with it in the past, but I've got enough like holes to do here that I'll have to spend a bit of time dialing in the old MIG to and the wire speed and heat and all that kind of stuff to stop it kind of like dropping on top of me, because yeah, it's a little bit trickier than doing it kind of up the other way. Well, I find it trickier anyway, but we'll get it done. I just want to try and get them as neat as possible, because that way I don't have to do so much grinding. I hate grinding. Well, I don't hate it, it's just don't like it that much, you know. Okay, so I always say okay, so every time I kind of get on here to sort of try and think of something to say. But anyway, okay, so I've welded up. Okay, so I've welded up all the kind of plug holes and whatever it is I started up until this kind of middle bracing and stuff. So it's that under the seats and under the front footwell, and I have had enough for today. It was awkward. I was getting splatters all down my legs and all over my shorts, and yeah, I probably got burns in places that you just don't want to know about right now. But I got that far, and I've just got to, like, I had a bit of trouble with the upside down welding once again. I tried messing with my settings, and I'd do a nice plug weld upside down, and then the next one would just turn to shit, and clean steel, dirty steel, didn't seem to make any difference. I had a thought right at the very end, I probably need to replace the tip inside my MIG torch. It was some of those kind of symptoms, you know, and it kind of cuts in and out. But anyway, that's what it was doing. It was being a pain in the ass, put it that way. Little balls of steel went down my shorts leg, and now I've got burns. Yep, burns. But yeah, so that's enough for today though. Tomorrow I'll come back at it and just flush those down a little bit. Got a little bit, I was gonna finish tigging up inside the tunnel there. I forgot all about that until just now. Yeah, so got a bit done today, which I'm pretty happy with. Got all this inside stuff kind of to a good place where I want it, and yeah, getting a lot of the underside stuff well underway now. So I might even be able to get some etch primer on this front part tomorrow and get that kind of done, seal it up so it stops flashing, rusting and stuff like that. This should have never have been sitting here this long, well, sitting for this long with all that raw steel under there. God, I can't even talk. I've had enough. I'll see you tomorrow. Hey guys, right, so next day, hopefully I've recovered enough to be able to string a sentence together. So I just got to kind of get in there with the power file, clean up some of those plug welds, just flush them out a little bit, and then that's that front section kind of done. I'll give it another whiz over the wire wheel and take some of that gold primer and that off now that I've
hammered up most of that before I move on. Hopefully I'll get some of it into some grey etch primer, not black etch primer, grey. I couldn't actually get grey etch primer, so I got a little tin of black and a tin of white, so I'm going to mix the two together to give me a grey etch primer so I can sort of see where I've been and get photographs and that of it for the compliance people. When I get this thing on the road, they're going to want to see what I've done under the floor, so I need to be able to do that and get clear photos. If I did it in black, it'd be harder to kind of for them to be able to see what's going on and what I've done. So that's my plan. And then when I spray all the underfloor stuff and that on there, that'll be, I think that's grey too actually, the stuff I bought. It might be black, I can't remember. But yeah, so carry on, get in there with the power file, do some power filing. And I'm going to be smart this time. I'm going to take the belts with me under there so I don't have to keep coming out every time they snap. Get what I'm saying? Right, let's get at it. Also, I went and bought me one of these little furniture dollies with a grand total of like $21 or something like that, so I can sit on that and wheel myself around underneath the car. Hopefully then better than I was yesterday. I was trying to use a little skateboard yesterday and I could only go in one direction, which was a bit of a nuisance. So there we go, my seat. Okay, update. Hang on, I've got to turn my music off. It's the only pleasant way to, well, the only way to make this particular task more pleasant. Well, pleasant in any form. So, update. Where am I? I've gone through and I've ground back all the plug welds and stuff on there that I think I might have mentioned, and I've been over the back half now, wire wheeling and carrying on, as you've probably seen. Now I've got to go through, drill all this side of this brace, hammer it up, plug weld all that, run a few down there. Looks like there's one there. Probably go in between these, just put a couple of extra ones in just for good measure, just because it's really good fun drilling and plug welding upside down. Did a little experiment, see what this kind of crap's going to come up like. It looks like it should flake off pretty easy, but there's a shit ton of work in that as well. And yeah, like things like this, it's only got one there. Looks like there might be one there, and this hasn't been kind of like shaped in there. It's all got to be hammered up to the floor. There's one at the end. And like these, I'll just get a cold chisel and knock that in there. And yeah, just kind of flush them up to the floor where I can. It's just, I don't know, it feels like they should be, I don't know, slightly different shape. I don't know whether the floor's the wrong shape or whether those braces are the wrong shape. They were both, this was new floors and new end braces, front, that one and that one, body mounts up the front, they were all new. Well, purchased new by the previous owner and welded in by the previous owner. I'm just kind of going through and kind of giving them a little bit of extra, and kind of had to finish off a few things, but that's all right. That's what you get when you buy a half-done project, or not even half-done project, an unfinished project, someone else's three-legged dog. So I'm sick of wire wheeling and stuff, so I'm gonna get into drilling some holes and doing some hammering. Yeah. My little $20 furniture dolly is pretty good though. It's like a little miniature creeper. You can kind of zoom around under here, do some miniature creeping. Quite good value really. If you're looking for a cheap creeper, you could buy a couple of these, it'd be 40 bucks. Bolt them together and you got a full-size creeper. It's just not got any padding on it. Hello, thinking.
me overalls on this time because yesterday I got sprinkled with all sorts of hot metal and stuff, and went down my shorts legs because I was sitting like this and that. Yeah, but yeah, got a few little burns. So I'm gonna start drilling some more holes. I should have brought some hammers with me, but I forgot. And yeah, so I can start. I don't know. You know what I said? I'm trying to drill holes. Where's my glasses? Oh, there they are. Let's do it. Alrighty. Okay, I totally forgot to change that. Oh, what the hell? How did that happen? Change this tip on this morning. The first few went all good, but after that, kind of went a bit sideways, and I got a few stalactites. But it's my own doing. I just kept on trying to weld them, even though they weren't performing. And ended up some big globs over there that I'm gonna have to do a bit of sculpting with the old power file. I know what I forgot to do when I climbed back under here was turn my gas bottle back on. Now I have to climb back out. Okay, so that's from this bracket forward, all wire wheeled, plug welded, ground and stuff, as far as have got the the energy to take it. Like yeah, crikey, it doesn't actually look much different than it was when I started, but it's going to be a lot more sort of rigid and stuff like that. So before I do anything else, I'm going to spray a little bit of rust fix on some of this sort of surface rusty stuff, which will just kind of get it converting to not be so rusty anymore. And yeah, and then once I've done that, I'm going to wait for that to dry, and I'll find something else to do to entertain myself. Probably a little bit of that's about it really, I think. Spray that on there and then I can probably etch prime it. Ooh, progress. As you can tell by the floor, I've been doing some grinding and some stuff like that. Yeah, clean up. I'll spray that etch while that rust fix, and while that's drying I shall tidy up some. Alrighty, so there's the duplicolor rust fix, kind of like just misted over most of it and then poured on in a couple of places just to convert the surface rust that was living in the old Area 51, or just on the, under the floor. So that's 2/3 of the floor kind of at that stage. I've still got to do from the the step notch back under the boot floor and all that sort of stuff. And I've got a little rust repair to do inside one of the wheel arches, so I've got to make a patch for in there, and just heaps of cleanup of previous stuff and stuff I never got to get on the inside of when I was doing all the rear quarters and stuff like that on there, you know, like doing the teardrop stuff, like, because it still had axles and diffs and everything in the way back then. I just kind of like left it kind of as it was, unfortunately, and now it's all covered in surface rust, so I've got a heap more work for myself. Should have done it when it was clean steel, but it's how the cookie crumbles when you're doing a slow long-term project. Yeah, so went through a few belts on the old whirly jig belt sander, and but it's such a good tool when it wants to work well. Man, it just gets in there. You can just touch on the top of those things and you don't have to kind of worry about a big disc zipping around all over the place. But like I was saying, the belts just keep snapping. Some of them I've had got a good run out of, some of them I only got seconds out of. Anyway, clean up. Quite a pile of rust and grinding dust there, that's not including the stuff that's on me, obviously, but yeah, there's quite a bit there. Alrighty, so I've waited the recommended 24 hours before I put any other paint on top of the rust converter, as I always do. Now, I use this Wattle Super Etch primer, so 1K primer, spirit base. A lot of my people who work in the panel industry would probably like lose their shit if they were like, "Oh, what are you using that shit for? You use proper car stuff." I used it on my Monaro, I used it on my Plymouth, used it on the truck. It holds. I'm not using it on the exterior. I'll use it on the underside and the interior floors as a kind of etch primer, and it sticks good. It's not petrol resistant, unfortunately, so you know, if you're going to spill petrol somewhere, don't put it there unless it's well sealed up over the top, which this will be. Underneath it'll be this Wattle Etch. I call it black etch, but I'm using grey this time, and it'll have like a stone guard underbody stuff, splatter shit painted over there. Some people, you know, like that Raptor liner stuff, but I'm not using Raptor liner stuff. That's too brittle, in my opinion, and I've seen it failing, which is, for the money, it's not my cup of tea. I've used much cheaper stuff and had it last a lot longer. So I'll be using a paintable stone guard stuff underneath floors and that, and I'll use it inside here as well because it keeps some of the drumming and the noise and stuff like that down. So for now I'm just going to etch from wherever it was we got to forward and get it sealed up. Choice, big step. I won't spray any of that in here yet. I'll wait till I'm finished doing all the rest of the floors, and then I'll come back into here and I will sand and wire wheel and clean up and whatnot, all that in there, and spray all in there again. And alright, masked up, ready to rock and roll. Pants falling down as usual. Yep. Okay. Overalls falling off for a change. Gotta get me some big overalls, I reckon. Sages from the old crack attack, as Puddin calls it. Right, let's get into it. Oh fucking, I got a bloody cramp in my one of my stomach muscles. God, it hurts. Oh, I have to lie down. I was just reaching for this to unblock my ear bed. Last night I got cramp in my legs from being crouched under here all day yesterday. Punishing, man. Oh, I feel it like shooting up my leg. It was horrific. Right. Hopefully some paint will come out now. There we go. Alrighty, okay. Oh, there's a couple of thin bits here actually. I might have to drag that back out. You can see where I've had some Sharpie marks on there and they came through the paint. I was supposed to make sure I clean those off before I got some primer on here, but it doesn't matter really. The old, what do you call it, the Etch, the underbody stuff will certainly cover those and whatnot. Now that I'm under here I can see all the bits I've missed. But yeah, essentially that's it. So, God, 2 days worth of work just to get from there to there. Far out. Hopefully that lot over there won't be as bad. It looks worse, but yeah, there's a lot of work there too. Oh well, I better go and make sure this is coated up properly now that I've found all my misses. Alright. Okay, so I've been in under, given it a second coat, managed to get, well, hopefully all the missed bits that I missed on the first coat. What's that? Oh, that's my stellar job of hanging up my air hose, falling off. Did I turn the compressor off? Yeah, sure did. Okay, so yeah, as I said, second coat done. That's how it looks under there at the moment. Next step for this part, you know, like once I get it to this stage, is to go around and seam seal it all. That was a horrendously slow job as well because I do it all by brush. And so I'll seam seal it all, cover all the butt welds, and I'll cover all the lap welds, and then that'll be ready for the underbody stuff. But before I do that, I'll probably get the back half to that stage. Whether I do that next or not, I don't know. I would like to, and then it's done down here. But I've got a rust repair to do up in here. Hopefully you can see it up there. See? That's about it as far as rust goes that's left that I know of. You know, pretty hard to not find it now. You kind of been through and over this car so many times in the last few years, couple of years, three years I've been working on it. I kind of know where everything is now, and that is all that's left. I think there's some pretty ugly stuff to take care of down the back there, and previous repairs and shit to kind of clean up and make them just a bit more presentable, maybe fill in some pinholes and things like that. But still a hell of a lot to do and a hell of a lot to figure out, and a lot of hours of sanding and door gapping and stuff like that. I have to keep changing arms because my arm's getting tired, because sitting underneath that car all day going like that with the drills just punishing on the old shoulders. Yeah, so I don't know where I'm going with that. Make sure that lid's shut. Nope, it wasn't. Good on ya. What a hard graft doing this, to, you know, this underneath. And I know why I was avoiding it now. Actually, I knew why I was avoiding it, because it sucked. Hard, just awkward, you know. But anyway, it's half done now, so I've just got to do the back half. You boy. I'm kind of excited. See? But anyway, moving on. That's it for this video. I'm done. I need to go and have a shower and get cleaned up. I feel like kind of probably how I look. I got overspray in my eyes while I was under there spraying shit. Keep kind of channeling down some of those contours and that straight into the eyeball, and yeah, not much fun. Yeah, so if you haven't subscribed and you're still watching at this point, subscribe, otherwise you'll miss out on what comes next on the old Area 51 project, and you'll miss out on the old bomb truck sitting there getting covered in overspray. Eek, hopefully it was dry spray and not still wet. And yeah, whatever other idiocracy stuff I get up to, whatever, you know, like what I'm saying. But yeah, making some gains, you know, got some primer in a couple of places that's going to be the actual primer and not just, you know, cover it up and make myself feel better primer. Yeah, so if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching, and until next time, take it easy and peace. Oh, my little job mate, furniture dolly, caster, trolley, was actually really good, really handy. If I'd had a creeper, I probably would have just used that, but I think a creeper would have ended up too big. Yeah, it's real good.